Truth here, and today we're going to take a look at one of the kind of an addendum to the video I did earlier on Sunday, I believe, reasons to be prepared. And going along with the trend from Sunday's video, I'm just going to stick right with it and talk about reasons that are happening right now. That being said, we're going to look at a few things. Go to YouTube and do just a basic search for food inflation. Keep in mind, when we're talking about inflation, it is not included when Ben Bernanke is giving his speeches to Congress about CPI and all these inflation indexes. Food and energy are conveniently removed from those so that they can not reflect isolated incidences of scarcity. Okay, and just to give you an example of that, Survival with Bushcraft posted this, and I watched it.
Hello, I'm Joe Donlin.
And I'm Tracy Berry. First at 6 tonight, get ready to pay double, maybe even triple the price for fresh produce in the coming weeks. The worst freeze in 60 years has decimated crops in Mexico and the southwestern U.S. News Channel 8's Wayne Haverly is looking into produce prices that seem to be rising by the hour, Wayne.
Yeah, not only are these prices skyrocketing, there is a very good chance that supplies of items like these Roma tomatoes and asparagus might not be available at any price, at least for a while. What's going on with produce prices?
We've had to double and triple, and the consumer comes in here and looks at the price. It's a little shock to them.
The problem started less than a week ago when our nation was focusing on the Super Bowl and those sheets of ice falling from Texas Stadium. Farmers throughout northern Mexico and the southwestern U.S. experienced unprecedented crop losses. Now devastation that seems so far away is impacting all of us.
Increase, increase, increase.
Roma tomatoes have more than doubled in price since Thursday. Zucchini has tripled. Shoppers like Sylvia Armenta can't believe what she's seeing.
Because my money is not doubled and not tripled, you know. I need to buy everything for my son and my baby and my husband. And
these are just current price changes that just come through today.
Produce manager Troy Winterhalter's laptop has been lighting up with price increases from wholesalers.
Peppers, zucchini, cucumbers, asparagus. The whole asparagus field pretty much wiped out with the freeze down in Mexico.
About the only items not impacted by the freeze in the coming weeks will be things grown here in the Northwest, like potatoes, onions, and apples. The situation is so dire, some stores can't honor certain advertised prices, which were ordered in newspapers long before the freeze.
And now I'm in a situation where I can't really support that ad. And I try to do the best I can as far as letting my consumer know what's going on in the market.
I've never seen this happen. I've been in the business for 25, 26 years.
Well, produce wholesalers and shippers, they say this is really probably just the tip of the iceberg. Yes, iceberg lettuce prices already on the rise, and don't expect to see any of these prices lower until at least the end of March.
Okay, so basically that's an isolated incidence of scarcity which is driving up inflation. And so we're all going to have to be prepared to pay more for produce now thanks to that freeze. Wonder why that weather is happening, but hey, we're not going to get into that in this video. Now, the next thing I want you to do, and again, this was just a basic search over basically the top search results, just using inflation, food inflation, and you'll notice a lot of these 4 days ago, 6 days ago, 3 months ago, well, this one's 3 years ago, 3 months ago, 5 months ago, 2 months ago. This is a trend that's really increasing over the last 12 months or so. Very few of these videos are from more than a year ago or so. So this is something to keep an eye on. If you do a trend for food inflation and use upload date, as in the most recent upload date, you'll see that it's happening worldwide. It's happening in China. Retailers are warning of huge prices. Oh, and here's a good video I encourage everybody to watch. This gal is explaining how Fed banks create revolutions. That might be something to keep in mind as we watch what's going on in the Middle East. But moving along, this is basically, this is a guy that's trying to say the absolute opposite thing.
Insecurity. We've been talking about it this week. It's the title of our week-long series on the world food crisis. Right now, let's look at how rising food costs are hitting lower-income Americans. For that, we turn to Bill Hampel. He's the chief economist at the Credit Union National Association, which is a not-for-profit trade association serving U.S. credit unions.
Somehow I have a funny feeling he's for-profit.
He also sits on the board of the National Cooperative Bank, which provides financial services for low-income communities in the U.S. And Bill is joining us from our Washington bureau. Bill, thank you so much for joining us.
I also find it ironic that this guy provides services for low-income communities. And this, folks, was after the Super Bowl, and what he's about to come out and say is that inflation is in check. It's right in line with all the other CPI indexes, and that there's nothing to worry about.
It's obviously an interesting day, and food inflation plays into the events around the world. Let's bring it back home for a moment. What are you hearing, and what do you think the effect will be from some of the soaring commodity costs that we've seen, particularly food inflation?
Well, again, if I were an oligarch sitting on top of a country with a large poor population overseas, I'd be really concerned right now. But quite frankly...
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. Well, anyways, we don't have to watch that whole video. The bottom line is you get what he says here in the video. Hampel says food price inflation not affecting the U.S. This guy, I don't know who the heck he is, but I think he needs to be replaced at his position. So yeah, that's basically what I just wanted to talk to you about. Again, prepping is about being prepared for this kind of disaster, okay? The disaster could just be a disaster at the grocery store. That's why it's so important to be able to produce your own foods. So I can't encourage you guys enough to get out there, buy a cheap rototiller, use a hoe if you have to, start planting food in your soil adjacent to wherever you live, and start learning how to grow things. It's a very rewarding hobby, and it's tasty too.